This time I'll call to order the Solano Community College District Governing Board meeting of January 17th, 2024. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America.
Here.
Trustee Lopez Lara.
Here.
Trustee Thurston. Here. Trustee Young is not here, and Trustee Voice has indicated he will be here late.
Next item is item 4, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Thank you. Is there a second? Thanks. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5 is comments from members of the public.
None.
There are no requests to speak, and at this time, we'll go to item 6 on the agenda, which is closed session, and we'll reconvene the regular meeting at 7 o'clock. regular meeting. And we're on to item 8, which is report of action taken in closed session. There was no action taken in closed session. Item 9 is comments from members of the public. Do we
There's
have any
none.
requests to speak? We do not. Item 10 is reports, first of which is Associated Students of Solano College. And I understand we have no report tonight?
No,
We do.
We do.
Oh, well, I'm just reading our prepared document. But you're welcome. So may we hear your report?
Good afternoon, board. Hi there. Hope you guys had a good break. So our first meeting that we had was basically just the EEO training meeting where we were all just kind of getting ready for the hiring board that some of us were going to be a part of. So that's all I have to report.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out tonight.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Next item is Academic Senate. I see Joshua Scott live and on our television. Go ahead.
EIA meets? Yes, diversity, equity. Oh, okay. I'm still thinking about. Yes, I'm sorry. Oh, I was thinking DEA. So for some reason, sorry. Okay.
Thanks again for your report. We have no other questions. So this time we'll move on to the report from Celia Esposito Noy, the College Governance Council, and the Superintendent President's report.
Right, thank you very much. College governance will begin meeting again next week. We have numerous updated policies we'll be bringing forward for review that will eventually come to this board for approval. From the SP report, as Professor Scott indicated, convocation went exceptionally well, and I want to publicly thank the VPs for coordinating the entire event. I should have had them doing that for the last 8 years. I don't know what I was thinking, but they did a great job. It was really exceptional, so thank you. Kamal Carter from A Long Talk was the keynote speaker, and he held a very successful follow-up session in the afternoon. We will continue working with Mr. Carter in a long talk for this semester through our Center for Excellence in Teaching to make that resource available. Their goal is to end racism in 15 years, or as they say, to put an anti-racist at every dinner table. And so they provide some really exceptional ways in which we can do things and say things to interrupt racism, sexism, wherever we find it. So it's been really exceptional. And we are the first community college in the nation to do this training. Our enrollment continues to improve compared to spring of 2023, and as of Tuesday, our student headcount was 8,498 compared to 8,300 at this time last spring, and FTES has increased as well, up to 2,919 compared to 2,700 last spring. Both of our centers remain above the 1,000 FTES requirement to retain center status, so it's good news all the way around. This week, the college hosted welcome tables at all 3 campuses, both Tuesday and today, providing students with free snacks and free advice and information. I always appreciate how thankful the students are for just having staff out there and being available to answer questions. And we're always pleased to talk with them and make sure they've received all the services that they needed. And on January 31st, ALG, during our meeting, that's Administrative Leadership Group, will hear from Interact. You may recall that we hired them some time ago to put together a marketing plan. They're putting together a plan to help us assess how effective we are in marketing. And so far, the preliminary report we've received is quite thorough. So they'll be here to present to ALG and have more details. That analysis will also inform what we'll be doing next to make some changes to improve marketing. So I also would like to thank Professor Josh Scott and the Senate for joining with the managers in the IBA facilitated training. Again, Sal did a phenomenal job as we begin the conversations about what should strategic planning look like here. So that is the end of my report.
All right, thank you for your report. Any questions?
Convocation. Is that on? Yes, it's on. Okay. And out of about 50 some convocations I've attended at Solano College since I've been on board, that was an excellent one. The speakers were engaging. All of you get an A++++. And there are very few A's in my life that students had earned, okay? Present company excluded. You know, he was one of my students. But you did an excellent job. The audience was really engaged. They were hyped up. Even I got hyped up. I said, what's going on with me? Excellent job. Okay.
All right, thanks. Any other comments, questions? We'll move on to item 11, which is the consent agenda action items. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered by the board to be routine and will be enacted by the board in one motion. There's no discussion on these items prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or the public request specific items to be discussed and or removed. There's time will be provided before the vote for clarification questions without removing an item from the consent agenda. So with that, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Anyone?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Are there any questions or clarifications sought by anyone? All right. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's approved. There were no items removed, so we'll move on to 13, which is non-consent agenda items. First of which is Human Resources. Sal Abate is the presenter.
Good evening, President Honeychurch, members of the board. VP Lofton is actually asked to read this resignation as him and Mr. Del PR have worked together for a number of years. So VP Lofton, I kick it over.
Often. That's a very moving tribute that you've just stated. So, any other comments, questions? If not, the chair would welcome a motion to approve the retirement.
I'll make the motion to approve 13A, the retirement of a very loved member of Solano Community College, and wish you luck.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move on to the next item, which is Finance and Administration. Vice President Susan Wheat is the presenter regarding the financial audit report.
Yes, thank you, President Honeychurch, board members. Gemma from CLA, our auditing firm, should be joining us online. This is our final audit. As you may remember, we presented the draft back in December, and we're coming back to you now with the final audit. And Gemma is on our screen now, so I will let her take over. The first one we're going to hear about is our district audit, and then after that, we'll look at the Prop 39 bond audit. Gemma?
evidently you've answered everyone's questions. Thank you. So this time, it's appropriate that we move to approve the financial audit report. Is there a motion to do so? Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve or accept the district's 2022-2023 financial audit report as presented. Question?
Yeah, I have total faith in our department. Would it be possible to I'm not sure when I don't know what our schedule is for auditing. Is it possible to have some feedback on these before our next audit? Hey, what's the resolution to some of these? Just sort of especially with our findings, so that I don't know if that's a self audit or a self really.
Yeah, some of them have already been corrected, and if you look at the management's response to it, you'll see that in there, or when it's anticipated to be corrected. But we can definitely follow up and give you an updated report. I can make that part of one of my quarterly reports for you. Not a problem.
Thank you.
I think too, then if we have additional findings after we had the last meeting, like a quick email or no communication that there were other findings that we didn't talk about in December, would be helpful.
All right, thank you. So it's been moved and seconded to approve the financial audit report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to item C, which is the board acceptance of Measure Q on financial performance audit for 22-23.
Yes,
Vice President
thank
Weed.
you. Thank you again. Gemma will be presenting the Prop 39, which is our bond audit for 22-23. So I'll hand it over to her at this time.
23. Any other questions of presenter? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The audit is approved for Measure Q. Thanks for your help tonight and work on this audit, both of them.
Absolutely. We appreciate working with the district and your team, and thank you for having me this evening. I will talk to you all soon.
All right, take care.
All right. Care.
With that, we move on to the next item, which is bond items. The presenter is Lucky Lofton, but I wonder if Quentin Voice had a motion before that, and then we can get to Lucky's presentation.
Sure, I can take a hit. We have several bonds projects for awarding contracts or amending contracts, and so I'll make the motion to open up for discussion and approve item 13 D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and K. So all open for discussion as well.
I'll second that.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve each of these items that are presented under the bond. Lucky Lofton, can you give us a brief summary of what's proposed to be approved? All those in favor of passing each of the items that were stated in the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. That brings us to item K. And Superintendent President, who's the presenter on this item?
VP David Williams is going to explain the curriculum that he's bringing forward and also share with the board the process that we used in order to bring forward these recommended changes.
Thank you, President Honeychurch, members of the board. As we do regularly, we're submitting to you some of the work of the curriculum committee. You can see the curriculum committee has been very busy the last couple of months. I did want to talk specifically about the first item on the curriculum, which is the class max changes. Those are reported by the curriculum committee, but they're actually not determined by the curriculum committee. This is a work conditions issue that is decided by a joint subcommittee made up of CTA, faculty union representatives, and administration representatives. And they consider class max changes to individual courses. Some of the class max changes have to do with things like the number of workstations they might have in a particular lab space. They might have to do with pedagogical concerns. Perhaps maybe in the past, a class max was set too high and the faculty felt that for learning reasons it might be easier to have a smaller class. You'll also notice there was an increase, I think, to one class. Actually, there's an increase coming up in the next item, not in this one. But sometimes we have increases as well. So essentially, these are submitted by faculty based on several different reasons. They're deferred to this subcommittee of the union and administration and then referred back to the curriculum committee as is outlined in our policy.
Thank you, Vice President Williams. Is there a motion to approve the request for approval of the curriculum items as submitted?
I'll make a motion to approve 13K.
For a second, please. All right, thank you. Are there any questions, further questions of Vice President Williams on this curriculum committee recommendation? Go ahead.
I actually wondered if you could talk to us a little bit about the nursing department and the classes that are being reviewed. I also understand that course inactivation doesn't mean that we're getting rid of that class. It just means that perhaps it's not being offered this semester. I'm just wondering if you can give us a little bit of a review.
Sure.
I don't know very much about this, and I'd like to take this opportunity to learn a bit more.
Sure, happy to. Yeah, all of our curriculum is subject to review on a regular 6-year cycle. So all our faculty are responsible for looking at their courses, ensuring that they're meeting current employment standards, current content considerations. They update their textbooks to make those. They update their student learning outcomes. So this is something that happens on a regular basis. Several outcomes could happen as faculty review their curriculum. They could make simple changes like changing, you'll see some changes to titles to be either more understandable to students or to deal with changes in a particular field. You will see some course inactivations, and sometimes that's because the faculty feel like a course is no longer relevant and they replace it with a more current course. So that's separate from not offering it in a given semester. We may not offer a course, but it still stays within the inventory. So when there is an inactivation, that course is going away. Sometimes it's going away and being replaced by something more current. Sometimes it just was felt relevant and it's not replaced. So a couple years ago, you probably saw some inactivations in the nursing department, and people were wondering, are we ending our nursing program? And no, it's just simply because they felt that there were some changes necessary to bring the program up to date and better meet student needs. So that's generally what happens. Again, this is common. It happens on a regular basis. A program might decide that a particular class is no longer relevant or a program is no longer relevant. There's another process for program inactivation that's much more collaborative and procedural. When there's a program inactivation, we actually go through a process called discontinuation, where we ask a couple of questions and could pursue a couple of routes. One of them could be, this program is no longer relevant, we're going to get rid of it. a discussion may be, this program is struggling. Let's look at ways we can make it better and make it more relevant and fix it. So there's a couple of, so inactivation is not the only outcome. Sometimes it's revitalization. Sometimes it's revision. So these are all very thoughtful processes, and it's a regular occurrence at the college. Right. Yeah. Yeah, curriculum review is a collaborative process. It is falls under the purview of faculty under the 10+1 guidance, but they work very closely with their dean. They work very closely, oftentimes, with advisory boards that involve industry, high school, employers, students in the advisory boards. So they're very collaborative processes throughout the process. The Curriculum Committee is a subcommittee of the Senate empowered with making those decisions, but we do report and share them to the Academic Senate.
Any other questions? So if not, is there a motion to approve the curriculum items as submitted by the Curriculum Committee? Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor then, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item is Student Services. Vice President Lisa Neely is the presenter. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, President Honeychurch. Good evening, members of the board. I'm presenting our resolution as we do annually. And this time, towards the end of February or towards the end of January, this is a resolution proclaiming February 2024 as Black History Month at the college. And I'd be happy to read the resolution if that works. Great.
Sure.
Thank you. In fact, I'd be honored to read it. Excuse me. Whereas Black History Month is celebrated every February as tribute to the achievements of African Americans who have shaped American history from 1619 to the election of the first Black president and vice president of the United States of America in 2008 and 2020 respectively, and beyond. Whereas Dr. Carter G. Woodson initiated the observance of Negro History Week in February 1926 to honor the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, both pivotal figures in the advancement of Black enfranchisement. Whereas through the dedicated efforts of prominent civil rights activists, the transition to dedicating an entire month to the celebration was advocated and realized in 1976. Whereas the 2024 National Black History Month theme is African Americans in the Arts, spanning the significant impact Black Americans have made on visual arts, music, and cultural movements, from the late 19th century cinematic achievements of writer, producer, director Oscar Micheaux to the poetic, percussive literary expressions of today's poet laureate Amanda Gorman. Whereas despite the African slave trade that created an institution of chattel slavery in this nation, African Americans have nonetheless continually enriched and contributed to our society through their long-standing commitment to resilience, justice, equality, civil rights, and economic and social equality for all. Whereas African Americans have played a pivotal role in the history, building, and shaping of America, and whose contribution should not be understated or marginalized. Whereas Black history is a part of American history, and our complex shared history is italicized by the contribution of African Americans for over 400 years. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that the Solano Community College District Governing Board does hereby adopt this resolution to recognize February 2024 as Black History Month.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve this item?
Second.
It's L. Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to proclaim February 2024 as Black History Month. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Oh,
Aye.
resolution? No. Wait. Roll call. Resolution.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, you're right.
All right, Trustee Voice,
Aye.
President Honeychurch,
Aye.
Trustee Cara, Trustee Cargo Reed,
Aye.
Trustee Lopez Lara,
Aye.
Trustee Thurston,
Aye.
Trustee Young,
Aye.
Student Trustee Srinivasan.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. All right. Thanks for that recommendation.
Trustee,
Yes.
I didn't understand what she said.
She said read
what?
project 1619, which is when the first African Americans were brought here as slaves.
Thank you.
Next item is item 14A, which is again presented by Vice President Lucky Lofton, and it's the Measure Q Quarterly Progress Update Report. Does not require action. It's information only. Next item is item 15, announcements. There are announcements? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think everybody on the board has gotten this invitation. It is for the SCSBA meeting on Monday, the 22nd. You are all welcome to come. It's an opportunity to meet colleagues, network, and have a wonderful meal as well. And I'd like to present the invitation for all of you as well. If you would like to come, it's going to be here in this boardroom, so you don't even have to go home and come back. You can stay here. And
We
the
don't go
meal
home anyway, so that'll be great.
Pardon?
We don't go home anyway, so yeah.
Well, then in that case, come have dinner. But what I wanted to say is that the dinner was a total replica of the dinner you arranged at the Vallejo event. Yes, it's the exact same one, and thank you, because it was such a wonderful evening that you arranged before that we decided to do the same thing. So please come. And if you do come, you have to email and confirm that you're coming, because there won't be any food for you if you don't. So.
All right. Thanks.
Yes, and if you can't come, I will get you in anyway. I mean, if you can't confirm, I'll get you in anyway. Please come. So it's here, and it's this coming Monday at 6 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for hosting that. All right. Next item is item from the board. If there are no more announcements, anyone have an item you wish to speak to? If not, we'll move on to item 20, which is the adjournment motion, which I'm calling upon A. Marie Young to make the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Has there ever been an opposed? I do have to ask.
I don't recall it ever happening.